Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I read Glitch in the Matrix stories, usually. Stories that are just strange. Now let's get right into it. Story title. My brother and I experienced the glitch in Maui on vacation, just before he died. Author name: NinjaJarby. So I have to start this off with a bit of backstory, or this wouldn't make any sense at all. I moved to a small town in Washington when I was in 5th grade. I instantly became close friends with my neighbor, G. His mom at the time was battling terminal lung cancer, and he started spending more and more time at my house to avoid what was happening in his currently. We didn't speak much on it, but I was aware having to observe his mother fade away was breaking his heart. She passed away in the summer of 7th grade. My family adopted him, and he started living with us full time. Now we can get to the glitch. My family had taken us on a week-long vacation in Maui. It's the second night, and my brother and I had stayed up until everyone else had fallen asleep in the hotel room. We snuck out of the room we were sharing with my parents and walked to the beach that was 2 streets away. We came to a secluded stretch of sandy beach that was extended into a narrow strip that ended with a big rock. There were thorns that grew high on our right side, cutting off access to the street. We walked down this narrow strip to the end, where it turned to rocks, and we just sat down. A full moon perfectly illuminated every ripple and wave of the water. Our conversation turned to how lucky we felt to be there. My brother G mentioned how if he had never met me, his life would have gone in a completely different direction. He would have most likely been shipped to eastern Washington to live with his emotionally distant relatives after his mom passed away, had it not been for fate threading our paths together through friendship. We both became slightly emotional, and I told him that this was how it was always destined to be. We stood up and began to retrace our path back to the hotel, down the narrow strip of sand that was just wide enough for both of us to walk side by side without my feet touching the ocean waves. Then suddenly, something caught my eye in the water from the reflection of the full moon. I turned and looked, and I could see the shadow of a humanoid upper body sticking halfway out of the ocean, right under the full moon. That's odd, I thought. There shouldn't be anyone swimming this late. Right as I finished thinking this, I heard my brother G collapse into the sand hard. "What the fu-" he muttered as I turned to see he had fallen into a patch of perfectly raised, square-shaped sand. This square couldn't have been here before. One of us would have had to have walked directly through it before. The weirdest part was, in the square was an imprint, almost looking stamped onto the sand. Was a goddess with her hair over her front torso. It looked very similar to the Starbucks logo actually, but wearing a necklace with 3 circles interconnected. I turned back to look for the person in the water, but there was nothing there anymore. I turned to face G, and he was still just frozen, half collapsed into the sand sculpture. I could see by the fear in his eyes he was thinking the exact same thoughts as me. How the hell is this here right now? His expression screamed. I stuck my arm out and he grabbed it. I pulled him out of the sand sculpture so we could both look at it. G was just speechless. He started to walk back down the narrow beach to the hotel, so I started to follow, taking one last look at the ocean to confirm there was no one there watching. G wouldn't speak a word for the rest of the night. In the morning, the first thing I did was wake him up and ask him, "You remember that sand sculpture from last night too, right?" He begrudgingly agreed, but couldn't explain what had happened or why. All he kept saying is, "That was not there when we walked up." G passed away a 1.5 years ago from an overdose. I think about him every day, as well as this experience that we shared. Maybe it was his mom saying goodbye. Maybe it was a piece of ourselves in a different timeline. Whatever it was, I will hold on to that memory until I meet G again. Personal thoughts. This was pulling on my heartstrings from the beginning, and then that last paragraph came around. Wow. I understand why you wanted to share this story with us. I really am sorry to hear about your brother G passing away. It seems like his whole family was cursed or something. As far as the glitch, it makes me wonder because it actually sounds like a mermaid encounter, which I've never really read about, to be honest. But I can say it's not something that is encountered frequently, that's for sure. If they do exist. Odd though. Why make an intricate sand sculpture like that? Just for two young kids that are walking on the beach at night. Maybe just some kind of signal instead. Like instead of crop circles for aliens, we get sand sculptures from mermaids. That's kind of cool if you think about it. I don't know if it was a mermaid or what it was, but it is clear to me that there was no malice intended from whatever it was. And that concludes our stories for the night. If you enjoyed them and my narration of them, then you know the YouTube drill. Hit the like button, and also consider sharing the video if you'd like to. It can help the channel to grow, but also you're introducing more people to my awesome content. So hey, win-win. If you'd like to subscribe, I upload Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 p.m. EST. I'll see you there.